If your sexual desires confuse you, freak you out, or feel too much, there's a real chance it's not you being weird. It might be unprocessed trauma messing with your wiring. That's not some deep psychology talk. That's just what happens when your body remembers pain before your brain can even explain it. I didn't used to think about this stuff. I'd joke around, send memes, play it cool like everyone else. But late at night, when it was just me and the screen, some of the stuff I was into, it didn't match who I thought I was. It was darker, rougher, and honestly, kind of sad, and I kept going back to it, every time. Until one day I asked myself, why? I found this random post online that said something like, your kinks aren't always about pleasure. There's sometimes your body reenacting pain in a way it can control. Bro, that hit like a truck. I started watching these videos explaining how trauma can shape attraction. Not in a you're broken way, but like your brain tries to make sense of chaos by turning it into something familiar. And that's when I realized a lot of people don't even question where their desires come from. They just assume it's natural. But what if it's not? What if the thing that turns you on is secretly connected to the exact thing that hurt you? Stay with me, because in just a few moments, you'll see how this all connects. This isn't about judging what you like. It's about understanding why you like it. And once I started doing that, everything started making sense. Not just in the bedroom, but in how I saw myself. You ever wonder why something so specific turns you on, but when you think about it after, you feel weird? Or even a little sad? Yeah, that's not random. So here's what happened to me. I used to be into this one specific thing, like role play stuff that made me feel powerless. At first, I thought it was just a fantasy, no big deal. But it started to bother me. Every time I finished, I felt like crap, empty, confused, almost guilty. And I couldn't figure out why. I didn't want to admit it, but it reminded me of something I went through when I was younger. When someone crossed my boundaries and I froze up, too scared to say no. That memory was buried. I didn't even think of it as trauma until I watched someone online say, sometimes what excites us is what once made us feel helpless. Our brain tries to flip it. That was it. My kink wasn't just a kink, it was my trauma, dressed up as control. Most people never realize this, but the body stores memories even when your mind forgets. And it comes back in weird ways, like what you're into or how you act in relationships. And the wildest part, a lot of these patterns feel like choice, but they're actually survival habits your brain built to protect you. Here's the part they don't want you to know. Understanding this doesn't ruin sex. It actually makes it way better. Because now when something excites me, I ask myself, is this healing me or just repeating the same pain? And I wish someone had told me this at 15, because I would have stopped blaming myself. I would have stopped thinking I was messed up for liking things that made me feel bad after. I would have started healing way earlier. There's this one thing I never told anyone until now, because I thought it made me a freak. But turns out, it made me human. I used to have this recurring fantasy, super intense, and no matter how much I tried to avoid it, it always came back. It wasn't even about sex, really. It was about being hurt and seen at the same time. Like, I wanted to be desired, but also punished. I thought I was twisted. I thought something was wrong with me. One day I watched this therapist explain that sometimes, if we didn't get love in a safe way growing up, we start confusing love with pain. Like our nervous system doesn't know the difference. That right there, that cracked something open in me. I started seeing patterns in my relationships. I was always chasing people who didn't treat me right, people who made me feel small or invisible. And somehow that felt familiar. Because in a messed up way, it matched how I grew up. The chaos felt like home. But once I became aware of it, like fully aware, everything started to shift. I didn't stop having desires overnight, but I started asking better questions. Why do I need this to feel turned on? What part of me is trying to feel safe right now? Is this desire helping me feel close to someone, or is it just replaying old pain? Stay with me, because what I'm about to say next might sound harsh, but it's real. Not every kink is trauma. But if yours always leaves you feeling worse after, if you feel numb, sad, or ashamed afterward, it's worth looking at where that comes from. You're not broken. You're not dirty. You're just trying to heal, in the only way your nervous system knows how. So here's a moment that honestly changed everything for me. I was talking to someone online, just casually chatting. We were talking about stuff we were into, and they said, Sometimes I wonder if I actually like this stuff or if I just got used to it because of what I've been through. That hit me hard because I realized I never actually gave myself permission to like what I really like. I was just reacting to stuff that once made me feel powerless, but now I was pretending it turned me on. The worst part? I never felt like I could talk about it. Guys aren't supposed to talk about trauma. We're just expected to figure it out, stay quiet, and keep going. But deep down, I was tired. Tired of feeling weird. Tired of chasing this fake version of connection that never made me feel whole. And the more I dug into it, the more it made sense. Like, if you grow up in chaos, your brain gets wired to find chaos normal. So when you're older and something healthy shows up, it feels boring. It doesn't light you up the same way. But that's not because you're broken. It's because your brain's been living in survival mode. Most people don't get this. They just keep chasing the same cycle, thinking it's desire when it's actually just pain with better lighting. But here's the part that gave me hope. You can actually rewire your brain. You can create new patterns. But first, you have to recognize the old ones. I started journaling after each time I felt triggered or turned on by something that confused me. Not to judge myself, just to ask, what part of me is trying to be heard right now? And slowly, I started connecting the dots between past pain and current cravings. The craziest part? Once I started healing the stuff I used to be obsessed with, it just stopped hitting the same. Not overnight, but gradually I stopped needing the intensity, the drama, the emotional roller coaster. I started wanting real connection, real safety, real peace. And I know that sounds soft or lame, but bro, peace is underrated. When you stop chasing chaos, you start feeling free. You start liking yourself more. You stop waking up feeling ashamed or confused. You finally feel like you're living in your own body, not just reacting to some ghost from your past. But here's the thing. This work is quiet. Nobody claps for you when you start healing your desires. You don't get a badge or a trophy. You just get a little more peace, a little more clarity, and a version of yourself that actually feels real. So if you've ever felt confused about what turns you on, if it feels too dark or too much or just doesn't sit right with you afterward, please know this. You're not alone, and there's nothing wrong with you. Your body might just be trying to heal. And once you start listening to it, things start making way more sense. I wish someone had told me this when I was younger. I wish they had said, hey, maybe your desire isn't shameful. It's just a signal. A signal that something inside you wants attention, wants healing, wants to feel safe. And once you give yourself that, once you stop chasing the pain and start giving yourself care, bro, everything changes. So yeah, your sexual desires might come from trauma, but that's not the end of the story. It's the beginning of your healing.